Hello everybody, my name's Steve, I'm the British Railroader and welcome to my model railroad room for the next part of Project 2790. Okay, so it's been a little while since my last video on my Project 2790 series. Today we're just going to be looking at fitting some of the rooftop and cab details. The next step after that is going to be wiring the lighting into the DCC circuit board, but that will have its own video. And then probably the last video is going to be about weathering and finishing the loco, but that's going to be in a couple of weeks' time. Now, next week is the NMRA UK region or British region annual convention. It's going to be held in, let me check my notes, Cookham in Berkshire. So it's about a 2-hour drive for me. The convention's over a whole weekend. That's open to NMRA members who've booked. I think that's all completely booked up now. But on the Saturday, so that's Saturday the 26th, between 10 and 4, there is going to be an open exhibition at the venue. And you'll be able to go there and have a look. There's going to be, let me just, sorry about this, check my notes. There's going to be about 14 layouts, most of which are going to be American themed. Some of them aren't. There's also going to be numerous traders, people that specialise in American model railways. There's going to be all of the NMRA senior membership from the British region. I do believe Gordie Robinson might be putting in an appearance. Unfortunately, I couldn't go for the whole weekend, but I'm going to be there on the Saturday. If you're an NMRA member and you're just going for the show on the Saturday, tickets cost £6. General public, it's £8. So it's going to be at the CIM Business Centre in Cookham, Berkshire. Postcode is SL69QH. I will put all of the details, of course, in the description of this video. It should be a really good show, and especially for those of us that are really into American prototype railroad modelling. So hopefully I will see you there. But on with this video, we're going to go down onto the workbench and we're going to get these details fitted. Okay, so here we are down on the workbench, and as I said, what we're looking at today is just some of the final kind of roof details, etc., that need to be put on. Following this, I'm going to wire the loco lighting into the chassis, and then it'll be a final reassembly, and then of course it'll be a case of weathering her. But just for today, we're going to look at what I've got down here. So I'm just going to focus us a little bit. So we've got cab sunshades, we've got you can't really see it, we've got the horn just there. We've got this little white box which came with another model as a spare, which wasn't needed. But I noticed that this loco, from the very few shots that I can see of the cab roof, that this sits just in the middle, if I can just see, just in the middle of the back of the cab roof there. So that's quite handy. We've got the windscreen wipers. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill the holes for the windscreen wipers to be fitted, but I'm not actually going to fit the windscreen wipers until after I've weathered the model. Basically, it means that it's just easier to mask the windows whilst I'm doing that. And these centre windscreen wipers, I'm not going to drill a hole for at all. In fact, I'm not going to fit them at all today, because they'll be fitted with a little bit of glue and glaze, which I'll talk about shortly. And then the last thing is I've got some N-scale handrail wire, which is just very fine handrail wire, which is about the same diameter as the grab irons. And the reason I need this is at the back here, there's a curved grab iron, or there should be a curved grab iron, and I'm going to use some of this to make that. So let's just focus back out again, and I'm going to start with the easy parts. So just move them to one side. We're going to start with the horn and the little white box. So one thing I am going to grab from my pile of tools is my ruler, And I'm just going to measure how far that is. So that is 2.15 centimeters. That's good. That's a nice amount, isn't it? So what we want to do is kind of, I think I'm going to just under 1.1 centimeters. I'm going to just mark off a point. I'll probably need to go forward a little bit, but that is 1.1. That's just under 1.1. That's fine, because what I'm going to do is I don't want it there anyway. I need it here, so I can just move it over slightly. So that is where I am going to drill the hole to mount this little white piece, which keeps falling out of my fingers. Now, looking at that, I think my standard drill bit is about the right size. So I'm just going to use that. Just going to mark that a little bit further forward. There, I think. There. And then we just drill through that. There we go. I don't want to go too far because the lighting conduit is underneath, so I don't want to break that. Just test fit that. That fits just nicely there. I don't mind that it goes over slightly. So, getting my ruler, let's just have a little measure up. So that's 8.5 mil. And that's about 8 mil. Do you know what? That'll do. Near as damn it. And then we'll get just a little bit of the super glue just onto the end of a cocktail stick, like so. Little dab there. And the great thing is about the Gorilla super glue is it is quite slow fitting, slow setting. And you can see here, it just shows you how this lift ring is slightly offset, which I never noticed before. So yeah, that's 5, that's almost a centimetre. So the fact that this might be just a little off centre isn't too much of a problem. I'm just going to just turn that slightly. So I use a lot of Gorilla super glue, and I'm telling you this again, no sponsor or anything, this is just a bit of information for you. But the Gorilla super glue, as far as I know, has a little bit of latex in it. So it does mean that it sets a little bit slower, but it also just has a bit of give to it. Whereas some super glues, or CAs or whatever you want to call them, they're very brittle, and this isn't as brittle, so it's quite good for this kind of work. So again, with the horn, I'm just going to line it up. I think there's a hole already there. Yep. So this is going to be another little dab of super glue. So the horn that I'm fitting, so if you recall, when I bought this Loco, it did not have a horn. It was the only thing that was missing from it. And I had some Athern horns, but they were things with Athern horns. They're the old blue box type. Is that they're not very fine. They're quite what's the word I'm looking for? Coarse. And I didn't like them as much. So okay, so whilst they're drying, I'm just going to move to the rear of the Loco, and I'm just going to focus on this just a little bit if I can. And I don't know if you can see, but next where we've got the lift rings in, there's a little dimple there and a little dimple there, and these are the molded dimples for the grab iron that goes there. So I am going to just zoom back out if I can. I'm going to do what I did for the grab irons is on that dimple, just make my mark, and then get my drill bit, like so. And drill these out. There we go. Ouch. Managed to stab myself with the drill bit. Always be careful. Put them to one side. So let's get this handrail wire, or a piece of it. Just have to grab that. So what I'm going to do with this, okay, is you've got the length from there to there, but we want it to curve slightly. So if I cut a piece that's just a little bit longer, we'll take it to, I think, no, I need it a lot shorter than that. Take it to about there. So we've got a piece of this wire that is, it's about an inch long. So about 2.3, almost 2.4 centimeters. And then I'm just going to take the very ends and bend it to 90 degrees, like so. So hopefully you can see that. And then I'm going to take the other end and do exactly the same, on the same plane as it were. So just make sure that's straight, bend that down. Okay, oops, that hasn't bent quite right. Let's just get that on. There we go. Right, let's see if this works, or see whether or not we have to shorten it. So I'm going to put one end in here, bring this round. Okay, that's way too long. Okay, so we're back, and it took a couple of goes. Sadly, these things do. So there it is in place, just there. The curve isn't brilliant, but once it's painted in, it won't notice as much. So, and I need to touch up some of the lift rings as well, because unfortunately you get paint rubbing off of those. But anyway, that's now in place. Just glued in, a little dab of super glue on the ends. That's looking okay. Good thing is once it's glued, you then get the opportunity to just kind of fiddle with it a little bit. Anyway, move that to one side. The next thing, which is going to be quite difficult, are the cab sunshades. Okay, so this is a Atlas model, and these are Atlas cab sunshades. But what normally happens is Atlas do these so they have little tabs on them and little holes in the side of the cab, and you put them in. But of course, because this is a more basic model, it didn't have either. And also, I didn't like the idea of drilling holes because it's very difficult to get them lined up. So what we're going to do is going to place it just there. But I'm going to use some canopy glue. So this is glue and glaze, which I've spoken about before. It's what I made the ditch lights with, the lenses for the ditch lights. And I've realised that you guys in the States call it canopy glue. It dries clear, doesn't leave any residue, and it does, even though it's made so that it can be removable, it is quite robust. So what I'm going to do is a little bit just here above the window line. Whoops. Of the loco. Just give that a few seconds. And again, I'm going to put a little bit just on the face of this. And I'm going to give it just a few moments just to kind of dry, because what it'll do is that'll then set up a tack. Move that to one side. And then it is literally just a matter of lining it up with the window. Like so. Just holding it there for a few seconds. And again, the good thing is if you want to reposition it, you've got time. There we go. That shouldn't take too long. Now, the good thing about using this is that you don't then get the chance of that hazing you sometimes get from super glues, which drives me absolutely to distraction. So I'm just going to move that around and do the same on this side. A bit just under the window, or above the window, sorry, under the window. Silly thing for me to say. There you go. And again, let's just get my thing. A line of the glue on here. Give that just a moment or two. Blow on it like it's a piece of food, and then we'll line it up. Of course, the other thing you want is for it to be in roughly the same place on this side as the one is on the other side. Okay, look at that head on. Might just lower that a little bit and lower that. This one isn't quite lined up as I'd want it. But again, this is the good thing, is that it gives you just a little bit of working time, and that's the important part. Okay, so they're all on. They've got to dry. And then I'm going to drill the holes for the windscreen wipers. Which are these? So these are A-line windscreen wipers. These are the ones with the double sides on. As I said, I've got the double set that goes for the central window. These have got mounting pins on, but what I was going to do is cut the mounting pins off and then a dab of, again, the glue and glaze afterwards will put them against the window. But I'm not actually going to add these until everything's finished and she's weathered and sealed, etc., because otherwise I'm never going to be able to mask the windows. But what I will just very quickly show you, and let me just choose the correct drill, so I can never remember which one you need. I think I need a slightly bigger one. So the way that I do it for the cab doors and side windows is I literally, oops, that's the problem, let's put you there, is I literally just find the halfway point. Let's just do this by I mark it. And drill it. And of course the problem is there we go, she's in. Okay, so there's a hole there now. What I'll do is I'll just take one of these windscreen wipers, which I'm going to have to just cut off the sprue. Just take a second. Be careful when cutting these off, because you don't want to lose half of your actual wiper blade because it's a pain to try and get it back on. This may not be the right one for this particular hole, but it doesn't matter. And then that will go in just, whoops, there you just have to, I might even need a big hole. No, that's fine. So there we go. That's the windscreen wiper. And when that goes in permanently, I think it should be on the other side, but that's fine. I'll get the right one. I'm going to again use a dab of the glue and glaze just to hold it. Okay, so with those bits done, the body shell is basically there. The only thing is the obviously the handrails that came with the logo that I took off just for this doing the detailing. They will all need to go back on. And with the handrails, in fact, if I get one out of my very nicely marked Project 2790 box, with all the various bits and pieces in, you will notice that the handrails, let's get this one, will do, he says. So the handrails are just painted a basic grey, which is fine, but the end handrail on each section needs to be painted yellow. But that's something that I can do separately and probably do it before I fit them. But there we go. That's it from here on the workbench. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope you found it as useful as ever. It's been a bit of a slow progress on this. I think if I wasn't making films of my or videos of my progress, I probably would have had it all done and dusted by now. But that's the way it goes. That's not a problem. Just looking forward, I've spoken about the NMRA exhibition next weekend, but other forthcoming videos that I've got, one of them is going to be a little explainer about the difference between 00 and HO. I think a lot of my English viewers will probably get it, but I think some of my American viewers don't always understand why it's different. So I'm going to do a little video about that. I've also installed in my only English logo, so I only have one actual British Outline 00 logo. But I've installed one of the new Hornby HM7000 DCC decoders. Now these are sound decoders. You can download the sounds onto them, and they're Bluetooth decoders that you can operate using an app on your phone. Very similar to Soundtrax's Bluenami range, but actually quite different. And so I'm going to do a video about that fairly soon as well. I've also been talking to one or two people, and coming in the future, might have a few videos where I have some kind of, not quite interviews, but not quite chats as well, with fellow modelers where we talk about our experiences, especially those of us that model American railroads over here in the UK. Doesn't mean it's all going to be exclusively about American railroad modelling. Will be some British modellers, and you never know, we might be able to get some of my friends from across the pond to sit down with me and record an episode, but that's all way in the future. I've still got to work out the technical side of things, but I've got a friend who knows how to do it and is going to help me. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below, or alternatively, you can email me on this email address just here, and I will get back to you with a response. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. You know, we've got an ever-growing membership, and it'll be lovely to have you on board, and it's completely free. When you do subscribe, click the little bell, press all, and you will be notified of all my videos as they come out. But that's it for today. My name's Steve. I'm the British Railroader, and I'm saying goodbye from my model railroad room. Bye-bye.